What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventurer 1994 here, and today is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, and I know I still have content to upload as of right now with Times Square, and also I went to the Okanee Diner today and saw the Easter stuff. I need to upload that too, but I came out here to let you guys know that for the first time since 2017, the Ottawa Senators have officially clinched the Stanley Cup playoffs. For the first time in 8 years since 2017, the Senators finally returned to the playoffs. Yep, this is big news right here. This is why I'm out here making this news. It's really big news because the Ottawa Senators haven't had much of a good history the last 8 years. Like, after they made the playoffs in 2017, and they made it as far as the conference finals and lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins, that is when the Ottawa Senators made their unexpected downfall. Like, we expected them to make it in 2018 also, but they just collapsed during the offseason and through the whole 2017-18 season. And they finished with a really bad losing record that year. It was a really shocking surprise because they were so good in the playoffs in 2017 and they just collapsed very badly in 2018. Yeah, it was like an unexpected surprise on all of us. Like everyone in the NHL. We didn't think they were going to collapse like this because they were so good in the playoffs. And they were aggressive enough to make it as far as the conference finals. Yeah, when the Ottawa Senators made the 2017 playoffs, they eliminated Boston, and they, as a matter of fact, they were actually our eliminator in the playoffs. The Rangers had trouble beating the Ottawa Senators in the playoffs. That we sadly lost to them in 6 games. Do you know what the problem is? It's that the Ottawa Senators were so aggressive in the playoffs, and our one problem against the Senators is that the Rangers always had trouble beating them, and the Ottawa Senators used to have Craig Anderson on their team, who was a really tough goalie back in the day, and we had trouble getting past them, and that's why it was so difficult for us to win that series. And sadly, we got eliminated in Game 6 back in May of 2017. Yeah, so it was Ottawa being aggressive, period, and it was Craig Anderson's goaltending skills that were so powerful that we hardly stood a chance against them. We only won 2 games that series, but we lost the other 4. We almost had it in the second game and the 5th game, but the Ottawa Senators turned it all around in overtime, sadly. Yeah, they were just too good in the playoffs that year. But thankfully, the only good thing about us getting eliminated from the second round is that we would have had to play the Penguins in the conference finals, and the Rangers would not stand a chance against the Penguins in the conference finals that year because the Penguins were just hands-on aggressive that year. And they were about to repeat as Stanley Cup champions, in which they did. I know Ottawa was our eliminator that year, but they would have been our hero if they took out the Penguins and made it to the finals and prevent the Penguins from repeating as Cup champions. Yeah, they would have been our eliminator turned hero during the playoffs that year. Yeah, even though the Rangers didn't qualify against the Senators, I mean, I don't hate them. I mean, we were actually rooting for them to beat the Penguins in the conference finals. I mean, we don't hate them because they're not really our rivalry. It's the Penguins that are our rivalry. And we don't want the Penguins to win, so we have to root for Ottawa still, even though the Senators eliminated us. And I think it's BS to hate a team just because they eliminated us. You mainly hate a team if they're your rivalry, not just because they eliminated you from the playoffs. So, yeah. Once the Ottawa Senators lost to the Penguins in the conference finals in 2017, and the Penguins repeated as Stanley Cup champions, the Ottawa Senators sadly made their collapse for the next several years, and they ended up falling to the bottom alongside the Canadiens and the Red Wings and the Sabres, who ended up turning much worse. And the Senators sadly made like 50 overall losses that year, like over 50, and barely made it to 30 wins that year. And then the following year, they actually finished as the worst team in the NHL, and then their losing continued all the way till 2024. But thankfully, I mean, almost every year the Ottawa Senators had a problem, and they had trouble winning games, and they always fell to the bottom of the division, and they kept losing a lot. They had a lot of problems, and they lost a lot of key players and stuff. And not to mention, they also lost Craig Anderson too, who also retired. Yeah, the Ottawa Senators lost a lot, and they had a lot of work to do in order to be good again. But thankfully that wait's over now. They started improving themselves in 2024, and now they won enough games in 2025, and they have enough points to make the playoffs now. And now they're officially back in the playoffs after several years. They finally returned. They made enough wins and enough points to qualify. And also, they qualified today because the Montreal Canadiens beat the Red Wings, and the Red Wings don't have enough games left to make it to 90 points. So, the first wild card goes to the Senators, and sadly I have a feeling Montreal might be locked in to get a wild card because they keep winning games, and they're going... The Montreal Canadiens are getting more and more farther from my team from clinching. It's going to get to the point where Montreal's going to keep winning, and sadly, this is how I also lost my confidence of the Rangers making it this year. But most of all, I'm glad that the Ottawa Senators returned to the playoffs after 8 years since 2017. And this goes way back to where I was in 10th grade. This is when the Rangers played Montreal and Ottawa in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Yeah, we were only in East Canada during the playoffs that year, while I was in grade 10. And sadly, all 3 teams took a downfall that year. The Rangers met the Canadiens and Senators in the playoffs, and all 3 teams fell down the following year, sadly. That was like a trio falling into disappointment right there. Sadly. But thankfully Ottawa was able to turn things around the last several years, even though they were really bad, and now they returned to the playoffs. Thank Neptune to all the fans in Canada's capital. Even though they made the wild card, I don't think they're going to be lasting a while in the playoffs. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat Toronto or Tampa or Florida. But we'll have to see what happens. I'm just grateful for now that they made the playoffs after several years of disappointment. I'm happy to all the fans up there in Canada right now. Canada's capital has finally returned in the playoffs, and I guess that's it. Bye.